Hi everyone, it's Vicki here, and today I am designing for Hip Kit Club and I am using the June 2020 kits. This is my first layout with the June kit and I am using the main kit only. So I pulled out this great paper from Stamp Market and I am cutting out some of the rectangles on here that match the colours in the Pink Fresh Let's Stay Home collection. So I think for now I'm taking out a peachy colour, corally colour, yellow, a green and a blue. And I do replace that blue with a pink a bit later on. But at the moment I'm just cutting those out. And my assignment is to incorporate using punches into this layout. And I've just pulled out this border punch, which gives sort of a notebook effect. And I decided to go ahead and punch the edges of these cards that I just cut out. So just like that. And I'm thinking at the moment I'm going to do sort of a grid. Here's my photograph. It's my nieces just having a milkshake together. This is before we were staying home, but I don't have many of them staying home because my brother is useless at taking photos of them. So I have to rely on some older ones at the moment, but that's okay. They work pretty well with this anyway. So here I am pulling out the pink one instead of that blue one. So I've got the 4 there and I'm pulling out some embellishments that match the 4 colours. So I want some yellow, pink, corally pinky orangey colour and green. So I pull some out from the Pink Fresh Studio die cuts which we get in the main kits. And there we go. So I look at this paper and I wanted to cut some things out of this, but in the end I don't, because I think I have enough embellishments without needing to do that. So there we go, and I'm going to pull out a piece of white cardstock shortly and do some stamping. This little stamp set is great, came in the main kit, just got a few little things in. Now I used the inks from the mixed media kit, which isn't the main kit, but you could just use inks from any, and I could have pulled out my stash of inks, but those are on my desk, so I decided to use them. And I just printed 2 of each because I haven't used these stamps before. I tend to print 2 images just so that I can pick the clearest one. Okay, and I'm just going to skip through me cutting those out. There you go. So I just cut out 1 of each, and that just gives me a few extra embellishments to add there. So now I'm thinking about what I'm going to do on the page, and at the moment I'm still going with this sort of arrangement, this grid arrangement, and I'm going to change my mind on that completely shortly, but I left in my process so that you can see what I'm doing. I also think about doing it that way, and I start to load it up, and I don't hate it that way, but it just wasn't working for me. So you'll see again I change. Okay, but at the moment I'm just bringing back all the embellishments, and they just aren't working on there like this in the way that they were before when it was horizontal. Okay. So now I decide to try something a bit different, and I decide to put them like this and stack them up the page and stack the photo in with them. And I'm just trying by putting some of these embellishments on here, and you'll be able to see what I'm thinking. So I'm a lot happier with this arrangement. I can see the words on the bottom cards, and everything seems to fit well. So I'm going to take a photo of it just so that I don't forget where everything's going. And actually I do forget something when I do my next step, because my next step is I take it to my sewing machine and put some stitches down the sides. So I'm just sticking those down. And if you notice, I tucked my photo under the pink card at the bottom, and I forget about that when I pull out the sewing machine, and I just start to sew on it. So There we go. So I've sewn down each of the edge in corresponding colour of thread, but now I have to put my photo further over to the left, which is going to cover up the story, which is what is written on the yellow card there. But that's okay. It ends up being completely covered, but the other three are still showing, so I'm fine with that. So now I'm taking the die cuts, the flower die cuts that have the white border around the edge, and I'm taking the white border off just because I felt it was a bit too much white there. So I left a very thin border, but it's I think it works better. So I did it on 2 flowers, and I cut the flowers off so that I could cut the flowers apart so that I could put the corresponding colour on the card beneath. So this one, for instance, is pink and orange. So one goes at the bottom and then the orange one goes up there by the photo. Okay, so I'm just going to start to relayer things. Some of this stitching gets covered up. In fact, you can't see much of that orange stitching at all. But you can just a little bit. So I'm still glad I did it. So just cutting some more off of this white, this leaf, sorry. And it's fiddly, but I think it's worth it. Okay. My head appears in this at any point in time. I apologise for my lockdown hair. My roots need a lot of attention. So yeah. I'm actually going to the hairdresser on next Wednesday, which is actually the day before this goes live. So next time I do a video for Hip Kit, we should be good. Okay, so just cutting out my title. And here we go. So now I'm going to start to cut everything down. Stick everything down. Where is my head? I can't even say the right word anymore. So I'm starting to stick things down, and some things I'm putting on foam pads, some things I'm just sticking to the layout, and sticking the photo there, just the other bits and pieces, embellishments. And I decide to put these vellum hearts and clouds onto some card, and that's just some packaging, some old packaging. I just stick them on with some wet glue and then cut around them. Just because they were vellum and slightly see-through, I wanted them to be a bit more opaque. So yeah, so I did that. So they're quite easy shapes to cut out, so that wasn't too difficult to do. So I'm going to start to stick those down as well. So the clouds will go onto foam pads, and the hearts will go flat. There we go. That's just a tag I cut in half there. And now I'm going to stick down the title, which just says Slow Days. Oh, and also some enamel dots, perfect colours to match in with the whole scheme. And it's just a small title. The alpha that came in the kit was blue, and I didn't include blue into my layout, so I didn't want to use that. So I could have recoloured it, but I decided to use that. And that is the final layout. So I hope it gives you some inspiration for using your main kit. Don't forget you can fussy cut, and helps your stash to go further. Here are some close-ups as well. I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Vicky for Hip Kit Club. Bye bye.